Good afternoon and welcome to the Grand Prairie City Council meeting for Monday, December 16th, 2019. I'd ask everyone in attendance to rise and join us in singing O Canada.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land, glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you to the National Film Board for the images of our country and to our very own Grand Prairie Boys Choir alumni for the audio. We'll move into the adoption of the previous council meeting minutes. Can I get a motion for the adoption of that set of minutes? Councillor Palat.
Thanks, Mayor American. I would just make a motion that council adopt the minutes of the city council meeting held Monday, December 2nd, 2019 as presented.
Thanks very much, Councillor Palat. Any discussion or debate on those minutes? And are there any errors or omissions that we need to amend before we adopt them? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. Please vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. And the adoption of the agenda. Councillor Bressie.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I would move that council adopt the agenda as presented.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Bressie. Any discussion or debate on the agenda? I see our city clerk.
Can we please add item 7.1, public member appointments for 2020?
Thank you very much. I think it's 7.1 and then there are actually a number of them, so it's actually 7.1 to 7.111. So other than that little addition of 11 additional items, Councillor Bressie would do that as amended?
Please.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Bressie. So that motion to adopt the agenda with that addition of those 11 additional items. Any discussion or debate? Thank you for that catch to our city clerk. Please vote. Thank you. And that motion does carry. And that will take us to the open delegation portion of our agenda. This is an opportunity that we have at every regular standing council meeting for anyone in the community to come forward to council. We have a scheduled delegation portion in our evening session. I believe we have one public hearing but no scheduled delegations. But this is an opportunity for anybody in the community to come forward and address council on any community related matter without necessarily registering ahead of time. I don't see that we have anybody coming forward this afternoon, and so I think we'll close this, but just with that reminder to the community that there are a number of different ways that you can appear in front of council to raise that issue with us. We'll move on into our reports and those additional items, starting with 7.11. So council will be making a number of appointments to standing boards and committees of council. And these are recommendations for public member appointments. I will recognize first Councillor Thiessen.
Thank you very much, Mayor Given. I would move that council appoint Steve Mills to the Arts Development Committee for a one-year term ending December 31st, 2020.
Thanks very much, Councillor Thiessen. Any discussion or debate on that motion? Seeing none, then I will call for the vote. Please vote. Thank you. That motion carries. We'll move on to 7.1.2. Councillor Platt.
Thanks, Mayor Given. I'd just like to make a motion that the council appoint Tella Savard to the Assessment Review Board for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2022.
Thanks very much, Councillor Platt. Any discussion or debate on that recommendation, that motion? Again, seeing none, please vote. Thank you. That motion carries. That'll take us to 7.1.3, Combative Sports Commission. Councillor Friesen.
almost dumped my coffee there. Thank you, Mayor Given. I'd like to move that council appoint Daryl Stobie to the Combative Sports Commission for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2022.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Friesen. Any discussion or debate on that motion? Again, seeing nobody ring in, then I'll call for the vote. Please vote. Thank you. That motion carries. So next then, we're on to 7.1.4, the Community Enhancement Advisory Committee. Councillor Minhas.
Thank you, well, Mayor Given. I move the council approve the Yulia Savard and Jody Mullen and Solomon Okada.
Okay, thank you. That motion. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. Please vote. Thank you. That motion carries as well. And will take us to 716, Council Remuneration Review Committee. Councillor Clayton.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I'd move that council appoint Serge Martin to the Remuneration Review Committee for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2022. As well, I would move that council appoint Lynn Coulter to the Remuneration Committee for the same 3-year term.
Okay, thanks very much. Motion for those 2 appointments. Any discussion or debate? I actually have one, and I'm sorry that I didn't catch it before. I'm going to ask this to our city clerk. This committee is intended to be sort of a startup, run, do its job, and then disband. Should these to be to a term ended December 2020? Because really they will be completed, it should be completed its work by the end of this upcoming year. Okay, so Councillor Clayton amends that to end December 31st, 2020. Thank you. I don't see any discussion or debate on that motion. And I'll call for the vote. Please vote. Thank you. That motion carries. And that'll take us to 717, Councillor O'Toole.
Thank you very much, Mayor Given. I move that the Grande Prairie Airport Commission has 3 vacancies. And would like council to appoint Ian Penner, Scott Pravitz, and Bern Mads to the Grande Prairie Airport Commission for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2022.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor O'Toole. Any discussion or debate on that motion? Again, seeing nobody ringing in, then I'll call for the vote. Please vote. Thank you. That motion carries. It'll take us to 7.1.8, Councillor Bressie.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I would move that council appoint Greg Skurback, Melissa Byers, Mandy Pollock, and Joyce Mackis to the Grande Prairie Public Library Board for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2022.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Bressie. Any discussion or debate on that recommendation? Again, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Please vote. And we're back around all the way back to Councillor Thiessen after I display the results on that motion, which did pass unanimously. Councillor Thiessen.
Thank you very much, Mayor Given. I would move that council appoints Thomas Slivka and Julia Dutov to the Pursuit of Excellence Committee for a 1-year term ending December 31st, 2020.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Thiessen. Any discussion or debate on that motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Please vote. Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor Palat onto Revolution Place Advisory Board.
Thanks, Mayor Given. I'd make a motion that council appoint Jody Mullen to the Revolution Place Advisory Board for a 1-year term ending December 31st, 2020.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Palat. Any discussion or debate on that recommendation? And seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Please vote. Thank you. That motion carries. And finally, Councillor Friesen, I think we're down to Subdivision and Development Appeal Board.
Thank you, Mayor Given. I'd like to move that council appoint Ian Penner to the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2022, and that the council appoint Lynn Coulter to the Subdivision Development and Appeal Board ending for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2022.
Thanks very much, Councillor Friesen. Any discussion or debate on that motion? Seeing none, please vote. Thank you. And that motion carries as well. Okay, that handled all of our items under reports, and welcome to all those members of the public who let their name stand and will serve on council committee, serving in their community. Much appreciated. We'll move on to item 8.1, the Pursuit of Excellence Committee from December 4th. Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Mayor Given. Just it was my first chance to chair this committee. Just to give a little history on this committee. This was the first committee I was ever part of with the City of Grande Prairie, and was encouraged to do that by, at that time, Councillor Given. I sometimes wonder if he regrets me getting involved, but anyways, this was the first one I got the chair, so it was the last of the year, so we ended up handing out the funding that was available. We had just over $2,000 in our Come Fly With Me fund, and so out of that we give $1,065 each to Catherine Minnick from swimming and Sydney Kinderwater from judo. We also handed out two Bob Neufeld scholarships, one for $1,200 to McKenna Fedoruk for synchronized swimming, and one for $1,200 to Sydney Kinderwater as well for judo. We also did award the Perky McCullough Scholarship in the amount of $2,500 to Elizabeth Gustafson for pistol shooting. So that was all the business that we handled at that. I did want to make a note, though, that we had a lady named Pam Chislett that actually was on a library board way back when I was on that one as well, and it was her last meeting, and I think Pam's been involved with a lot of different city committees. I believe she was on this committee for quite some time, so I did want to say another thank you to Pam for your services on this one.
And Councillor Plott, a motion for that set of minutes.
Right, after all that. So if I could get a motion to accept the Pursuit of Excellence Committee meeting held Wednesday, December 4th, 2019, that would be great.
Thanks very much, Councillor Plott. Any discussion or debate on that set of minutes? Any errors or omissions to correct? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. Please vote. Thank you. That motion carries. And will take us to the Infrastructure and Economic Development Committee from December 10th. Can I get a motion on that set of minutes, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Given. I'd move that Council adopt the minutes of the Infrastructure and Economic Development Committee meeting held Tuesday, December 10th, 2019, as presented.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Bressy. Any discussion or debate on those minutes? Any changes we need to do before we adopt them? Again, seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. Please vote. Thank you. And that motion carries. Councillor Bressy.
Great. Thank you, Mayor Given. I would move that Council approve the 2019 Park Improvement Grant allocations as recommended by the Infrastructure and Economic Development Committee. And just to speak to that, I think we've got three groups that have proven that they care about this community and they know what they're doing, and they've got some projects that I think are going to make their neighborhoods or make their sport a lot better. And also just a shout out to Councillor Thiessen, where two involve orchards, and that's exciting to see our edible landscapes growing in the city. So I hope that Council will support this motion.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Bressy. Any discussion or debate on that recommendation? Councillor O'Toole.
Yes, I'd like to brag a little bit for the Grande Prairie Cricket Association. They started out about 6 years ago with a hope and a dream, and they were able to convince council to open up a piece of parkland and develop a cricket field. And they are now the reigning champions of the province with 6 teams, including one women's team. So they've done extremely well, and they're the envy of the province right now. So thank you.
Great. Thanks, Councillor O'Toole. Any other discussion or debate on these recommendations? Again, seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. Please vote. Thank you. That motion carries. Was there anything else that you want to highlight in that set of minutes, Councillor Bressy?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Given. Just from the Director's Service update, a few things I'll highlight is, one, there's some economic development projects that are well underway, including industrial attraction strategy and also a regional economic development strategy. And I especially want to highlight the regional one that we're doing with Sexsmith, Beaver Lodge, Hythe, Wembley, and the county. I think it's great that we're working together as a region to figure out how do we build jobs and how do we build businesses. And so that's exciting to me. The other thing that's kind of exciting for me is we got early reports about the new pothole repair tools that we have available to us thanks to Council's 2019 capital budget. And it's the early preliminary anecdotal evidence is that the potholes we're putting in with our new machinery are lasting longer. Right now, staff's in the efforts of actually documenting that through their processes so that we can get some real data about how long it's lasting. But it looks like we found some innovation that's going to not just make our roads better, but also help us save a lot of money in the long term. So that's exciting to me.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Ressi. We'll move on then to the Corporate Services Committee meeting. And who's got my set of minutes? Councillor Friesen.
Thank you. So I'd like to move that Council accept the minutes of the Corporate Services Committee meeting held Tuesday, December 10th, 2019.
Thanks very much, Councillor Friesen. Are there any errors or omissions that we need to correct in that set of minutes? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. Please vote. Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor Friesen, anything you want to highlight in that set of minutes?
You bet. So the Director of Service update gave us information about the taxation installment payment plan. They are taking new signups for the plan, and it runs from January to December. So if you want to pay your taxes in bits and pieces, certainly check in there. And very busy getting ready for year end. Bit of good news, that's our financial department. Bit of good news from Human Resources, our WCB premium have gone down. So while industry rates have gone up, so that means that we're in a very safe city. We're running a safe organization. So that was really good news. And the, everything, preparations are underway for the New Year's Eve event at Muskogee Park and Family Day event. Looking forward to February. So looking forward to some cool stuff this winter.
Thanks very much, Councillor Friesen. I've already forgotten, did we vote on that? Sorry, my apologies. Thanks, Councillor Friesen, for that introduction. Is there any discussion or debate on that set of minutes? Not yet, okay. Okay, so I'll call for the vote on adopting that set of minutes. Please vote. Thank you. That motion carries. And we will look to Councillor Palat, I think, was on our Protective and Social Services Committee. Councillor Palat.
Thanks, Mayor Given. I would make a motion that Council receive the minutes from the Protectives and Social Services meeting held December 10th, 2019.
Thanks very much, Councillor Palat. So the city clerk is saying, hey, Mr. Mayor, you totally messed up the agenda. Thanks very much, council members, for none of you bothering to call me on that. I really know who's got my back here, by the way. Yeah, I had skipped ahead from the parks improvement, and I saw the grants. And that's why I skipped down ahead. Yeah, so my apologies. And thank you very much, Councillor Friesen, for being ready to go, even though you weren't actually in order on my mistake. Okay, so now that I've got us completely messed up and out of order, Councillor. Yeah, exactly. Thankfully, it's not video, although the entire meeting is being videoed and it's on YouTube, so this is saved for posterity. Yeah, I know. So we will go to the Community Services Committee meeting, item 8.3, December 10th. Can I get a motion for that set of minutes? Councillor Friesen.
Thank you. Now I'll flip to this page. I would move that Council accept the minutes of the Community Services Committee meeting held Tuesday, December 10th.
Thanks very much, Councillor Friesen. Any discussion or debate on that set of minutes? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. Please vote. Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor Friesen.
Thank you. So we had a couple of delegations come before us, and it was exciting to see that the Sport Connection has, they did a really cool pictogram kind of thing, and there's a few things I want to highlight from that. Their next Try-It Day is January 18th, and they have 41 activities planned as diverse as things like darts and luge, so we can look forward to that. And they did the first ever Alberta North Sport Conference back in November, and really great feedback from that. One thing that really impressed me about that is that they kicked it off with a sponsorship boot camp, and over 40 groups attended, not just sports. So lots of arts and culture groups attended as well to figure out how to get sponsorships and get some money from our community stakeholders. And it's always cool to hear how many sport groups they actually represent, which is over 200. We also had the Terry Dow, the new ED for tourism, come and present to us. So given that we're heading into, and well, ski season's already started a little bit, look for the hashtag Ski North Alberta. That was a hashtag that was up for a Travel Alberta Award, and they have a great deal invested in it. So if you're looking for where to ski in Northern Alberta, check that hashtag. Also, hashtag Explore North Alberta for all the other things you can do as well. There were 77 festivals in our region this year, and that floored me. So tourism was involved, of course, promoting those. And they were also able to reach about 3,800 new travelers this year as they launched their mobile travel counselor. So they went out and about and talked to folks who were in campsites and that sort of thing. So that's what they've been up to. Lots of good new things coming up at Revolution Place, Baby Shark, and High Valley with Eli Young Band, and Brad Paisley. So good stuff happening there. Thanks. And we have a motion arising.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Councillor Friesen?
So we do have a motion arising. We had Patricia Millward, actually I'll make the motion here, that we accept the recommendation that Council award $9,935 in the Neighborhood Enhancement Matching Grants. And that goes to Signature Falls Neighborhood Association, Swanhaven Neighborhood Association, and Hillside Neighborhood Association. Do we need the amounts on the motion?
Either can we, and so appreciate they get to be pretty wordy, the motions. I heard Councillor Bressie do as recommended by the committee. I think that would be acceptable. Or either do as recommended because it does specify, and I think we need to find that.
Then matching grants as recommended by the committee.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Thanks, Councillor Friesen. Any discussion or debate on that recommendation, that motion? Again, seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. Please vote. Thank you. That motion carries. Thankfully, we've already done the Corporate Services Committee meeting, so that's good. Councillor Palat will move on to the Protective and Social Services Committee meeting. Councillor Palat.
Thanks, Mayor Goodwin. I just make a motion that Council approve the Protective and Social Services Committee meeting held Tuesday, December 10th.
Thanks very much, Councillor Palat. Any discussion or debate on that set of minutes? Then please vote. Thank you. That motion carries. Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Mayor Goodwin. An action item that came out of our committee meeting was on a recommendation to have council direct the mayor to write a letter to the K Division commanding requesting the city of Grande Prairie be considered for a pilot site for an online police reporting in support of this program, with copies of a letter to be sent to the Minister of Justice and Solicitor General.
Okay, thanks very much, Councillor Plott. Any discussion or debate on that motion? Seeing none, then I'll call for the vote. Please vote. Thank you. That motion carried. Councillor Plott, anything else you wanted to highlight in that set of minutes?
Thanks, Mayor Goodwin. Yeah, just a couple things that we discussed. We had a director's service, verbal service update, and so Community Social Development did a coordinated access open house that was held December 4th at Montreal's Cultural Center. We had over 100 people attend. I think this is going to be a really exciting process for the city. I'm excited to see the results of what comes through from that. The draft emergency management bylaw is with legislative services for review and feedback. The GPREB agreement will be reviewed to ensure it meets new regulations, that's a tough word for me, and is in sync with the proposed new bylaw. We also had CMHC come forward. Mr. DeRose from Planning updated us on the affordable housing situation with CMHC for land with Willow Place. So it sounds like administration's done everything that we can do, and we're just waiting for CMHC to follow up with that application. And the other end, we did have some correspondence to come through regarding our automated traffic enforcement technology that they're going to give us a bit of more of an update, and that was just what happened at our committee meeting.
Thanks very much, Councillor Platt. And I think that brings us to the Policy and Bylaw Review Committee. Councillor O'Toole.
Thank you very much, Mayor Given. I move that Council adopt the minutes of the Bylaw and Policy Review Committee meeting held Tuesday, December 10th, 2019, as presented. And just to speak on that, this is our first initial meeting. Some of the policies and bylaws have not been touched in a number of years, and some have been more recently, within probably 3 years. With that, Council had recommendation from the City Clerk, the Corporate Records Coordinator, and the Council Committee Coordinator in development of our process and how we're going to do this. We took a brief overview on different policies and procedures. We presented a checklist for reviewing bylaws and policies. And in the end, we used our key pillars, and we come up with 3 directions that we were going to follow. Number 1 being which has the potential financial impact greater than $1 million internally or externally. The second one being those which govern the city's interface with external customers via form or application, and the third one being those which administration would identify as ready for repeal. And so with that, I'm looking for the Council's approval.
To adopt the minutes. Thank
Yes.
you. Now we can all see why I get confused.
Hey. What's that?
Okay, thanks for that motion, for that set of minutes. Any discussion or debate? I would just maybe pause to say the last part that Councillor O'Toole highlighted, this would be our chance for, as we discussed at the committee, if those were the things that the committee prioritized, things that had an impact of more than $1 million, or the potential impact of more than $1 million, the things that influence the way the city interfaces with customers, particularly in the use of forms and other things that we had to fill in, or things that administration identified as ready to be repealed or taken off the books. Council, does that sound like we're on the right path in terms of priority of this committee? Okay, I'm not hearing any objections. We're not looking for a motion on that, but it's just it's our chance to check in that we're on the right path.
So the last time I spoke at the last council meeting, there were some housekeeping rules that we had to follow, different amount of organization or committees that we have. And we've just narrowed that down. So there's going to be some, I'm going to call them no-brainers that we just have to follow and get in line with. And other ones we're going to have to dig in deep a little bit, and there'll be some good discussions.
Thanks very much, Councillor O'Toole. I don't see anybody ringing in. Just want to make sure that we're on the right path. We had a pretty lengthy discussion at the committee about how we should proceed through that work, and just want to make sure the council members were aware. Without anybody ringing in, then I will call for the vote on that set of minutes. Please vote. Thank you. That motion carries. I think that finally handles all of our committee business. It might not have done in the right order, but it all got done. I don't see any items of correspondence this afternoon, and we had no delegations, and we also have no notices of motion. And so then I will call our council meeting in recess. We will return for a public hearing at 6 p.m. For Land Use Bylaw Amendment C1260-113 related to notification sign requirements for rezoning. We'll see everybody back here at 6 o'clock. Thank you.